Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the different authentication method, or I would say IAM authentication method to enter into an AWS system. Okay, so there are three ways to access your AWS account. One is AWS Management Console, where you can provide your username, password, and you can even make it more secure with this multi-factor authentication. So that's like a very usual way. Once you create your account, immediately with this root account you will have access to the AWS Management Console, and afterwards you can create those IAM user with username and password and you can enter into it. But there are two other ways also we are going to learn in this video. One is CLI, that is the command line interface way, where we are going to use this AWS CLI to enter into AWS, where you can provide the access key and some kind of secret access key. So here we are going to create one user where it is just going to have a programmatic access. Even if it doesn't have a, just a programmatic access, or it can have a management access plus programmatic access, you can definitely create this access ID, or I would say access key ID and a secret access key. Now this CLI is completely open source, and it's another alternative to your AWS Management Console. So via some kind of command line, if you want to manage all those AWS resources, one can use this AWS CLI. So here you are indirectly going to write some script to perform the operation in AWS. Let's say you want to create some user, or maybe let's say you want to create some EC2 instance. You want to manage some objects inside the simple storage bucket. In that particular case, via command line, one can do it. Okay, so that is like a second way. This is the first way. And there is one more where we are going to use this SDK, a software development kit. So here we are going to use this AWS SDK, and it's a completely programmatic access. So we have a lot of language specific APIs are available. So here the APIs for JavaScript, Python, PHP, .NET, and all those famous programming language APIs being available. It's available for Android, iOS, plus some IoT devices also SDK is available. So here you are going to use some kind of command line to interact with the AWS resource. Here going to use different programming language, and indirectly you are going to use this software development kit. So this CLI is indirectly written on the top of SDK. So that is like a third way. So without much further ado, let's just quickly go to Management Console, and from this particular CLI part, we'll see hands-on first, then we'll move towards the SDK part. So let me go to my Management Console, and you can see currently I am logged in into my root account. So let me just go to IAM. Now definitely I'm not going to use this access key creation for root account. Earlier also I have discussed that that is not at all recommended practice. So in case you just want to do it, you can just go from the top right corner, security credential, and you can generate some kind of access key. But for the root account, it's not at all recommended. So what we are going to do, we have existing users are available like John, Bob, user console, and user program specifically we have created which is having just a programmatic access. So for this one, we are going to create first of all secret access key and secret access ID kind of thing. Okay, so let's say to any one of them, I'm just going to go ahead. Let's say to Bob. Okay, so Bob is part of all three groups, but there is no policy being attached, so that's perfectly fine. In case of security credential, no MFA, but no access key also. So we are going to create one access key. Now there are multiple ways you can go ahead to interact with the different AWS resource with this access key. So here we are going to use this command line way. So with this one, you plan to use this access key to enable AWS CLI to access your AWS account. There is a local code. So here you want to access this key to enable the application code in a local development environment. So whatever different purposes you are going to use your access key, you just need to specify this use case here. Now there are some alternate recommended way also, AWS Cloud Shell. Anyhow, we are going to discuss this thing later on. And this another one which is not discussion of topic for this one. So for now, let's just generate quickly the access key. Okay, describe any tag value, not required. So let me just go ahead, and I guess the access key and secret access key being created. You can even download this as a CSV file. So Bob access key, yeah, this one. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it as it is, and I guess we are good to go ahead with the Bob. Okay, next thing is AWS CLI. So if you just go to my command line in my Windows machine, I'm going to show you how you can install this AWS CLI on your local machine. So that will be AWS. So currently this AWS CLI is already installed on my machine. So immediately I got some helper text that how I can use those commands. In case you want to install it, anyhow I'm going to install. So AWS CLI. I can just go directly to the very first ever link, I guess. Getting started. Okay, here they have provided some link to download for different environments. Okay, I should have got those things directly from here. Okay, in case you just do not get those link directly, the best thing is AWS CLI install. Okay, install or update latest version of AWS CLI, and most probably it will just redirect you to the correct one. Yeah, we were at the same pace. Okay, so I'm going to show you for the process windows. If you are on a Linux machine or a Mac machine, you can just simply follow the process like a yum install, or if you have a, let's say, Linux ARM, the process will be little different, but you can just simply fire the same command line and it is just going to install those stuff. Okay, so that is about the Linux stuff. And for the Mac one also, there are some GUI install is also available, and there are some command line installer is also available. Okay, so the process is not very difficult, or it's a very straightforward stuff. We are going to go ahead for the Windows one. So I'll just continue downloading this MSI installer. This is 64-bit. Okay, so it just started downloading, and you can execute this thing directly like this also. Okay, you can do it like this also, but doesn't matter. Let it get download, and we'll just double click upon it and we'll install it. Okay, so currently let me just check with my existing version which I installed earlier. Let's say AWS version, and after this being okay, so they are expecting that very specific service, so I can use this option. So AWS CLI version it will give. So currently whatever being installed on my machine, that is 2.3.6. okay, now hopefully it is being downloaded. Yeah, it's done. Let me just install once again. So it's computing some space requirement. Hopefully it won't take much time. Okay, done. Just press next, accept some licensing agreement, next, and simply install it. And after this being installed, we'll just again check AWS version. Definitely we'll get some latest one. Okay, meanwhile this get installed, you can have a look at some of the troubleshooting steps. So in case something goes wrong, you can follow along this particular link. Okay, updating some component registration. Copying some new file. So it won't take much time actually. Let's just wait for some time. Removing some backup files. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause my video. Okay, it's done. No need to pause. Let me finish it. Okay, now if I just fire the same one directly at this level, you can have a look at the new version of CLI is now 2.17.51. Okay, so CLI being installed, let me just do clear screen, and now I can go ahead and fire some command. Now suppose I want to list down all the user. Let's say IAM AWS IAM list user. So currently, is there any account being authenticated? So you can have a look at, we got some error that there is no user being currently authenticated. So we want to authenticate this Bob via this secret access key, and everything we want to access via this command line. So first ever thing, you have to configure it. So AWS configure. So first you need to provide this AWS access key ID. So do we have here access key? Okay, this thing you won't be able to see here once it is being generated, and that's why we have downloaded this in a access key. Now these secrets are very much important because once you lose this thing, anyone can have access. Okay, access key and then secret access key. Okay, see, I mean access ID and secret access key. I don't know why it's such a weird name they have provided. Okay, this access key anyhow I'm gonna remove it afterwards. Okay, default region. Now you can set some of the default region, and moment you will create the new service in future, by default those particular region will be taken into consideration. Now for me the nearest one will be AP South one, so I'm just gonna configure it as my default region. Now even if you do not provide it, I think that's perfectly fine for now. Okay, default output format, that's fine. Let's just go ahead. Okay, next thing is we have successfully configured. That means now Bob is officially logged in into AWS. Now suppose if I just want to fire AWS IAM list user, and you can see exit similar error we have got it. Okay, so now you can see the error got little different. So earlier it doesn't know that through which user it just need to enter, and it just trying to enter via some Boto3 user, and Boto3 user is not authorized to perform like a IAM list user. Whereas in case the second time when we configured this Bob, the kind of error you got like a user Bob is not authorized to perform this action, that is IAM listing user. So what we are going to do in via console itself, as a part of permission, let me add some permission. Let's say some IAM related permission I am just going to provide. I don't want to provide the complete access, so IAM full access I can give. I can give IAM read only access also. I think IAM read only access is a good enough. Okay, so let me just copy IAM read only access. Let me add permission, and permission being added. Okay, next thing is I just want to fire the same command once again, and we are expecting that there are some 4 user currently being created. One is Bob, one is John, which we have created earlier, user console, and there is a one more like oops, see I have to press enter for the more stuff. Okay, that is a user program. I can verify all 4 user directly from here also, and some of the information related to those user also being displayed. Now same way, if you want to access some other services also, you can go ahead. Okay, so the idea is not to learn all those commands related to CLI throughout this moment you learn all those service, eventually we are going to use. So this is like a very first time setup. Okay, now we have listed this user via command line, I would say. So we have used the commands like AWS IAM list user, but suppose you want to access the same thing via Python code, or maybe like through Java code or through JavaScript. Okay, how one can do it? So for that you have to use this AWS SDK. Okay, so that is a software development kit for AWS, and I'm going to show you the demo for Python, that through Python how one can access the same information. So for that, currently the Python should be available on my machine and it's already being installed. Okay, so installation of Python is not a big deal here. Let me go back to my console. And the very first thing what we are going to do, let me clear the screen. We are going to install one library, that is Boto3 library, and that is nothing but Python SDK for AWS. Okay, so I'm just going to use this pip install. Now whatever command line we have just now used, that is eventually being built on the top of this Boto3 library only. So pip install AWS Cli, also it's going to install internally, and Boto3. So both of this thing it's going to install on my machine. Now before I fire for this particular command, okay, I already fired it. Let me cancel. Okay, I just want to show you that which particular Python version I am using. So Python version, okay, 3.9.13 I am using. Okay, let me just go ahead with a pip install AWS Cli and Boto3. So you can see it just started downloading this AWS Cli as a Python module also, and another module, that is Boto3. Okay, so hopefully if doesn't get any error, we'll just try to access the same information which we have accessed earlier, like listing of all user directly from our Python code. And same user we are going to use, that is nothing but our Bob user, and to the Bob we have already given the permission like IAM read only access. Okay, now before we go for firing the Python related script to list down all the user, before that I just want to show you one of the things if you just have a look at the .aws, okay, do we have AWS here? .aws folder must be created somewhere. So see, there is a Boto also being created, see, and .aws also being created. So let me just go to .aws, and inside that what are the things are available. So whatever credential, the secret access and a secret access key, whatever credential was there, that is eventually being stored inside this credential. So if I just try to see the content of this credential, okay, in Windows I don't know how to see actually. Even see, cat command works on a Windows. Yeah, cat is not recognized stuff. So we can just simply go to my C drive, users, Ankit, and I have a .aws. Okay, so this contains those credential information. Let me just try to access this thing. Let me open with some notepad stuff. Yeah, so this is the default access key ID and access secret key, and that is what we have generated. Okay, so let me just come back, and now time to enter for our Python code. Okay, so we have already some ready-made scripts are available. So let me just go to my Python, and I'm just going to use those script one by one here. So let me copy this thing here, let's say somewhere in a notepad. Okay, so let me just go ahead with one by one. First we are just simply importing this Boto3 library. So even if you don't have a Python background, nothing to worry, it's a very simple one. Boto3 library which we have just now installed, we are just simply importing from Boto3 library. We are creating one client of IAM, and via IAM we are just simply going to listing all the users. So let me just copy the complete script, and I can put it as a .python.py file also, and I can execute, but I can just go ahead like this. Okay, so it's just gonna give me as output Bob user, then we have a John user, user console, and user program, and its corresponding Amazon resource name, or AWS resource name, I would say, user ID, and when it is being created. So this way, in this video, we have seen how one can access via two different ways. Management console, it's a very simple and straightforward. We have seen via AWS CLI also, complete installation, and we have seen how to do it via Python code through AWS Python SDK. Okay, so I hope you enjoy listening this video, and might be you get some meaningful information throughout this whole video. So please do like and comment on my video, so I'll get the feedback from your side that what I can improve about the video. And please subscribe my channel. I'll get back to you in the next one.